Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Where's the smiles? There we go. Okay. First off, you should all feel two things. One is that you should feel unfortunate that I'm going to speak to you about supply because I don't know anything about it. But I will say this. One of the things that you should be very fortunate being a member of this community is this. Our predecessors and even the folks that we have right now have done an amazing job about putting you in the position where we are right now with water. Our predecessors at the water district and Jeff have done a great job of making sure that we have supply. Sunnyslope with their former general manager and now Don. Again, you should feel very, very fortunate that the last 20 years, as you mentioned, I was talking about some of the things that we have been doing for a number of years, even prior to sort of being required to do these types of things. And so one of the things, again, I just want to make sure everybody knows how fortunate we are as a community to be in the situation that we are, even with the rain, and that has been a good thing. So again, you may have seen this slide a few minutes ago. This is where the city of Hollister and the urban area gets its water supply, the conduit. This is called the Hollister conduit. One of the things that you don't see on here is essentially the two water treatment plants that we have. One is underway and almost complete. The other one is less salt, which is about, I have a thing? About right there. It's at sort of the gateway or the entrance to the Santana Ranch project. And then West Hills, if you look up in the hills every now and again, you might see a crane that's about there, which will then provide additional clean water, good quality water to the rest of the area. The wells, or the blue dots, are about 9 wells that the city of Hollister have, as well as the Sunnyslope County Water District that we manage to also put into and combine with our surface water. Our demand in a normal year is roughly 40% imported, 60% groundwater, and as you heard Jeff talk about sort of the issues that we have with groundwater and the salts and the marine sediments that are in there, obviously the more imported water that we can get into the system and into our treatment plants, the better quality water that you're going to end up eventually having at your residence or your home. With West Hills, which is going to start in July, hopefully, we'll be starting to do about 80% surface water and 20% groundwater. There's some other issues that I believe Harry's going to be talking about as far as quality is concerned and chromium-6 issues, but that's actually a huge benefit. Again, we got, maybe this was a little bit luck, but we are in a good position to sort of meet those new state requirements as far as quality is concerned at the same time as we're having our West Hills project and our crosstown pipeline underway. Also, if you'll recall some of the slides earlier about the sheer number of water that we have in storage, whether it be San Luis or in our groundwater, our current urban demand is about 5,800 cubic feet. So when we were talking about 2 million gallons at San Luis, and we have $500,000 in our groundwater basin it keeps increasing, we're generally in a pretty good spot as far as future water demands. Another thing that is sometimes difficult to explain to some folks, and especially folks that are just moving into the community, is sort of, we live in the city of Hollister, why are we getting our water from Sunnyslope County Water District? Generally, the city is broken up into basically 2 water providers. Sunnyslope is actually goes outside of the city of Hollister's jurisdiction. As you can see, covers Ridgemark in that area. It's kind of that aqua color. The city of Hollister is sort of that beige color. Generally, for a rule of thumb, the line is about Memorial Drive. If those folks are familiar with where Memorial Drive is, basically the west side of Memorial Drive is the city of Hollister's district, and the east side would be Sunnyslope County Water District. Current development, I know, is one of the things that tends to get a lot of attention as well. what we did is we prepared this top graph here based on just new water connections, not necessarily building permits, because once again, Sunnyslope County Water District goes into the county of San Benito, and not necessarily every number would be caught by the city of Hollister. So we ended up putting just connections together. And I know we have 40 connections in 2014 in Sunnyslope and 77, so about 117 connections or new residential water connections in that given year. For percentages perspective, that's only about 1%. And some of you who have seen some of the presentations that I've given in the past about growth control, or how much we have grown over the last couple of years, you'll notice that those percentages they're not that great. I know it doesn't maybe appear that, but it truly isn't. So about 1% in 2014, about 1% in 2015. 2016, we had a relatively good year. We were about 2.5% overall as far as new connections or growth. And then we're probably going to be somewhere in that same neighborhood in 2017. I think that as you probably can start to tell, things have started to level off a little bit, and so we're probably, hopefully, won't see a huge increase over the number of building permits that are issued or connections, but hopefully we can continue to see somewhat of the same levels that we are seeing. Again, these things are dependent upon sales and the development world and how things are going. Interest rates all play a part in this, and we are currently underway with doing a new management plan, and so we should be able to, we're projecting out some of the capital improvements that we're going to be doing. Again, we have West Hills and some of the other things that we're going to be building to meet those future needs are all things that Jeff and Don and Harry have helped us put together to make sure that water and a little bit of the wastewater stuff should not be an issue for future developments.
Good morning. My name is Don Ridenhour. I'm the General Manager of Sunnyslope County Water District. One thing you keep hearing from all of us this morning is groundwater or water supply in general is not a short-term thing, and we've been at it for decades in this county planning for our water supply needs. The other point is that we're not doing it individually. The city's not doing their own thing, and Sunnyslope doing their own thing, and San Benito County Water District doing their own thing. We've been working at this together for a long time, and what that does for the community is it saves community money, and it also ensures that we all will have the supplies we need in the future. So I'm going to talk just about what we have been up to and what we've been planning jointly with the agencies. So kind of our two flagship projects, one complete and one nearly complete, is the LaSalle Water Treatment Plant upgrade was complete in January of 2015, and the West Hills Surface Water Treatment Plant will be complete in July. And I'll have to say that's nearly 6 months ahead of schedule, and we've been on budget with both of those projects. Those projects came out of the development of a master plan that the agencies put together in 2008. And actually it was a master plan they started working on together in 2004. Some of the other projects that were part of that master plan that are complete or underway is we also constructed a pump station and pipeline to help move surface water more throughout Sunnyslope's water district. Allowed us to move surface water to the Ridgemark area and other areas in our district. Also underway is the first phase of complying, or a pipeline to help the city comply with the Chromium-6 regulations that Harry Bloom will be giving you a little more detail about in a few minutes. We are underway with an update to our master plan. So it's been almost 9 years since the master plan was complete, and so we're developing kind of where we're going to go from here. I want to touch back on, these were kind of some of the goals or the essentials of that master plan, and these goals and essentials go back to mid-2000s, and several meetings were held in this community, again, long before I arrived in this community. So our predecessors have been working on water supply jointly for a long period of time. We heard from the community that they didn't want us working independently. It was more effective and more efficient to work as a team. So that was one of our essential goals. We needed better quality water. We needed to meet new regulations, existing and new regulations. We needed a reliable water supply. We wanted to keep it local. We don't need the state coming in and mandating the improvements and changes we need to make. It's important to do it on our terms and in our time frame to stay in compliance with regulations, and that will help to keep it more affordable. So these same goals still apply in our update to our master plan. So we're nearly complete with the update to that master plan. We'll probably be taking it to our boards and councils in the next couple of months. Hopefully it'll be adopted by June. But some of the projects that will come out of that is looking well out into the future, and they'll take years to develop, is looking for more imported surface water, either through purchases that Jeff mentioned, through going out and developing additional storage elsewhere through agreements, like Jeff and San Benito County Water District has been doing in partnership with others for a long time. Expanding reuse, so expanding the use of our wastewater and using it for irrigation, and looking at our local supply options. Then there's other projects that are obviously looking at expansion of the West Hills Water Treatment Plant and looking at some new pipeline projects to help move that water further into the city and to Sunnyslope's water district. So we've been talking a lot about water supply and all the benefits it brings, the higher quality we're delivering to residents. I want to mention that it also has a benefit to our wastewater stream. All that water supply that we deliver to residents, a lot of it ends up in the sewer, ends up at wastewater plants that both the city owns and Sunnyslope own. And we have another set of regulations that we have to meet, is the quality of that water that we discharge from our wastewater treatment plants. So it's very expensive to treat wastewater. One of the big issues we have with our wastewater stream is we get a high concentration of salts in our wastewater stream, not only from our water supply, but from water softeners that are used by our customers. So the benefit of these water supply projects is improving water quality, improve our wastewater quality. Sunnyslope has dropped their salt content in their wastewater stream by greater than 40% since 2015. The city and Sunnyslope are both still out of compliance with the state with our salt in our wastewater stream. But the good news is we're making substantial progress on that, and because of that progress, the state has been letting us keep making progress on our own. They haven't cited us or fined us or given us any violations for that because we're showing such progress. And we're spending a lot of money trying to get there and comply with those regulations. We're also increasing the use of recycled water from our wastewater plant for irrigation, as Jeff meant, and that number is going to go up this coming year and probably will continue to grow. So I just wanted to touch on the wastewater because it is related to our water supply and our water supply projects. With that, I am going to turn it over to Harry Bloom to talk a little more about Chromium 6, which is a very new regulation that we're having to comply with.